The immune system is like an army protecting the body against foreign threats. It can be categorized into two parts: innate and adaptive immunity. The innate or non-specific immunity is our body's first natural line of defense. It doesn't care what it kills, as long as nothing enters the body. Our first defensive system of our body is our skin. Any pathogen trying to enter our body is immediately stopped by our largest organ. There is also a mucus lining that covers our organs. The sticky, viscous fluids stop any pathogens from entering. These are the physical barriers of our body. There are also lysozymes in the eyes, a natural enzyme in our bodily fluids such as saliva and tears. It acts as an antimicrobial agent by cleaving the peptidoglycan component of bacterial cell walls, which consequently results in cell death. Our normal flora, microorganisms that live in our body without causing harm, also competes with these foreign bacteria, also acting as a defense for the body.
The next line of defense is inflammation. Mast cells roam around the body in search of suspicious activity and when encountered, releases histamine molecules which alert the body of a threat. This causes red blood cells to rush to the scene as well as leukocytes.
Phagocytes are cells that protect the body by ingesting harmful foreign bacteria, particles, and dead or dying cells. They belong to the innate immune system. They can either roam the body or stay in specific areas in hopes of an immediate threat. Neutrophils are the most abundant cells. They roam around the body, allowing them to get into breach sites quickly. These cells kill the infectious cell and die, resulting in pus forming.
Macrophages and monocytes are the same cells. They are referred to differently depending on whether or not they are in a blood vessel. Both are phagocytes. Macrophages roam around the body and cause unwanted cells in a process known as phagocytosis. They are very big and relay information about the pathogen to dendritic cells. Monocytes are the biggest white blood cell. They serve the same function as macrophages except they are in the blood vessel. When they are in the blood vessels, they are known as monocytes. When they are out of the blood, they are macrophages. If soluble, they are very small white blood cell. They aren't parasites.
Basophils play a part in immune surveillance. This means they have the ability to help and detect and destroy some early cancer cells. Another important function of basophils is that they release histamine in their granules during an allergic reaction or asthma attack. Histamine is a chemical which stimulates inflammation. Basophils also contain anticoagulant heparin, which prevents blood from clotting too quickly. If your skin is cut and vulnerable to pathogens, platelets are responsible for stopping the bleeding.
Platelets are components of the blood that clots the blood using fibrin meshes. They use coagulation factors, a substance that is used to coagulate blood, to coagulate the blood and form the clot. Neither cells get caught up into this and they become a scab.
Dendritic cells are the link between the innate and adaptive immunity system. They eat pathogens and deliver this information to the adaptive immunity system in forms of antigens. Antigens are the traces that pathogens leave behind. They are molecules on the surface of pathogens that can be recognized by the dendritic cells, which deliver to the T cells. Dendritic cells receive information from the innate and transmit information to the adaptive immune system.
Natural killer cells are lymphocytes. They're part of the same family as T and B cells. These knickers can effectively detect if our own cells have gone rogue or have been affected by a virus. They detect a protein produced by normal cells called the major histocompatibility complex.
In the adaptive immune system, fewer cells are needed to function. They are mostly T cells and B cells. These cells start out as multipotent hemorrhoid stem cells in the bone marrow and grow into each type of cell. The ability to remember specific pathogens is the main difference between the innate and adaptive immune system.
We'll first start with the B cells.
B cells are in the lymphatic system to circulate the body. Naive B cells have 1 billion antibodies on its membrane. If it encounters an antigen that matches its antibody, it will divide to either become a memory B cell or an effector B cell. Effector B cells roam around the body and essentially call in backup Memory B cells keep records of its antigen for further reference.
B cells produce antibodies that fit pathogens similar to a locking key that signals macrophages to come and eat the infected cell. The B cells can also become memory B cells, which help the memory T cells. They both keep a record of pathogens for future reference. This helps the body yeah. Memory B cells will express the same antibody as the naive B cell it came from, known as the parent B cell. Plasma B cells produce the same antibody of its parent cell. However, the antibodies are not membrane bound and can circulate the body, identifying pathogens wherever it floats.
T cells. After forming in the bone marrow, T progenitor cells migrate to the thymus and mature into T cells. They develop T cell receptors in either a CD4 or CD8 receptor. Only one, not both. Total of 2 receptors. T cell receptors can only recognize antigens bound to major histocompatibility complexes. The MHC are found on the membranes of presenting cells such as dendritic cells and macrophages. 4 types of T cells. Cytotoxic expresses CD8, eliminates pathogens and infected host cells. Regulatory expresses CD4 and CD25. Distinguishes between self and non-self cells, preventing autoimmune diseases or friendly fire. Helpers express CD4 and activates cytotoxic T cells, B cells, and other immune cells.
Memory T cells familiarizes with past pathogens. They make it easier to deal with them in the future because they memorize the enemy.
Adaptive immune system can remember pathogens, which in turn allows for faster response times in the future if the same pathogen is encountered again. This can be done due to the body's abilities to create antibodies.